Welcome back everyone. Let's talk a little bit more about if statements. I could make another 30 tutorials just on if statements, but I think most of you get the idea already. If you're still having trouble, you can always go back and rewatch the videos. You are more than welcome to revisit the videos at any time. We can have as many conditions as we want in an if statement. As your programs get bigger, you will need to add more conditions to your if statements. As your programs get bigger, you start to add more variables, and when you add more variables, you have to account for them in the if statements you are using them in. Here we have an if statement with 3 conditions. Always look at the brackets to see the logic of the code. So in this case, int has to be equal to 2 and boolean has to be equal to false. Or boolean 2 has to be equal to true in order for the code to run. So let's do a little test. If int is equal to 3 and boolean is equal to false and boolean 2 is equal to false, will the code run? The answer is no, because int was false and that means the condition 1 is false. Boolean 2 is false, so condition 2 is false. Therefore, both conditions are false and the code will not run. How did we figure that out? Well, I wrote down what the variables are equal to, then I checked them against the if statement to see if they were correct or not. So in order for the code to run, what has to happen is that either condition must be true. Since condition 1 has an and, both conditions must be true and they are not. I hope that was not too intimidating. Remember, you are just learning these concepts. It can take a while for all of these new concepts to sink in. So if you don't get these concepts right away, it is not the end of the world. So if you don't get these concepts at the end of each video, don't worry. Everybody learns at a different pace, and you might get some concepts faster than others. Let's do one more exercise before this video is finished. Can you create 10 if statements with 10 conditions? Just write down an if statement with 10 different variables and as many or, not, and operators as possible. I just want you to understand that if statements can have a lot of conditions in them. Well, that concludes the tutorial. I'll see you in the next tutorial.